It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
Settle! Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Yes, man! What the Rock is cooking!
Now welcome to Off the Mats with Alex Lowe's and Josh Silverberg.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the only wrestling talk show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome to Off the Mat, where we join you every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. right here on WWSRN. I am your host, Josh Silverberg. We have as I like to call them, my Death Triangle group here with me. I'll start on my screen, my top left corner, Mr. Alex Lowe's down in Florida. What's happening, man?
Nothing much, Josh. We had a great week of wrestling. We had an amazing pay-per-view, AEW Revolution. We have so much to get through with so little time in the show. Stick with us here the whole way through. It's going to be great, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it was amazing for something. No, we'll get into that a little bit later. And in New York, the one and only, because there is literally only one and only, Mr. Lyle Gillen. What's happening, man? Look at that new setup.
Oh, it looks great, right?
Oh
okay, well,
we're going
to have a great show. It's going to be funny. It's going to be entertaining. Stick around. It's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. I know we have our special guest with us. He is going to come on with us in a couple of minutes. But before we get him on, we got to go through some stuff, and let's talk about how you could download our app. It's quite simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's free. It's amazing. It's a lot of great stuff. I actually just wrote an article on there today recapping AEW Revolution and what I thought of it. Check it out. If you have an iPhone, you go to the Apple Store. You type in WWSRN. You have an Android, you go to the Google Play Store, and you type in Worldwide Sports. It is that simple with the click of a button, and that's it. You get our articles, our show schedule, all the shows and content that are on there. If you missed the show or you want to see clips from the show that you liked, you could go back and rewatch and re-listen to all of them as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and also worldwidesportsradio.com, where you can see our beautiful professional website that we are all very proud of here at the network. And again, I also said YouTube as well. And we have a brand new open line because Speedy Petey is running the show now, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. He is producing it. We've taken the load a little bit off of Alex because we gave Alex a lot. It was a lot, and we applaud Alex for doing all the work that he did for sure. He did a lot. Here's the number, ladies and gentlemen, 203-903-8271. That's 203-903-8271. We could probably, I'm guessing if it is on the ticker or not, definitely after this segment with our guest, we want to hear you chime in about what you thought of AEW Revolution. We want to hear all that stuff because we all have a lot of different opinions on this pay-per-view, that's for sure. But nevertheless, let us get into our special guest joining us now, ladies and gentlemen. He has a show, Break the Apocalypse, and he was on Wrestling Soup. He's a huge wrestling fan, just like we all are. Mr. Jon Draper. John, what's going on, man? It's Alex, Lyle, and Josh. How you doing this evening?
What's going on? I'm just admiring everybody's little setups. Like Alex has the setup of the teacher who's going to get me in trouble. Like when I get called into that room. Lyle, a lot of that stuff looks like you just put it up. I don't know how big of an island you are. Clearly Josh knows that I'm a die to the grave Mets fan. So he wanted to impress me and hung up his Mets out.
That jersey, my parents bought that for me the last year that Shea Stadium was up, and then at my wife's my fiance at the time, now wife, at our engagement shoot, I had her put on that jersey. I said, "You got to wear it." I told her she had to.
I like this. Everybody has their own little unique setup. I like it. Alex, you got the best lighting. Alex is the best.
Oh, easily.
Easily.
Oh, I mean, I mean, come on. His father is Charlie Slows. I mean, come on. I mean, of course, Charlie needs the best lighting there is. I mean,
he's got Alex has like impressive. He has like mood lighting. Like I feel like we're gonna have. Like I don't know where this is headed, but I'm game. That's all.
Hey,
that's all
listen. Well, the good, really quick, because the good thing is I got a MacBook Air, and the beauty is, I did a show with our network, the head of the network, Errol Marks. I do a show with him on Saturdays, and we tested it out. And Errol said to me, he goes, "How do you sound without a mic and a headset?" And I took it off, and he goes, "Wow." He goes, "You sound great." He goes, "You don't even need that."
It picks up it's picking up everything you're saying pretty
Oh,
good.
I love it. Oh, thank God. Thank you to Mac. And I'm not even a Mac person, but thank God for Mac with that one. But yeah. John, we have so much you want to get to, so much you want to ask you. And first off, the first question I want to get into with you is, how are you doing? How's your family doing with COVID and everything like that going on with the craziness this world has seen in the last, can't believe it's going on a year now.
Yeah, a year. Yeah. It's crazy. I just got a Facebook memories thing. You get those Facebook reminders. And a year ago today, I was in the mall by my house with Shaheen and Mish from Wrestling Soup and a whole bunch of wrestlers that were doing an appearance. We were working with them. And I was with JJ Dillon and Jimmy Hart. And you could sense like this was going to probably be it. Like you could just tell like, everybody was not shaking hands. And like, so it was a really weird vibe to see those pictures like today, like a year later. And I was just like, holy shit, like so much has happened. Like, it's just, my gosh, I'm in upstate New York. I'm right by the capital of New York in Albany. And, it's getting quiet, but we've seen this before. So my wife's a hospital RN, and, we've had a rough year as you could have with everybody else, but, I don't know. Maybe we're coming out of it. Let's see. I'm cautiously optimistic. Put it that way. Like I'm not.
That's fair to say, but I have to ask you this really quick before I let the other guys get involved. When you get those Facebook memories, does it ever hit you and you go, "Holy crap! Do you even remember something like that?" Or is it like, "Wow, maybe I should just show it to people," because I see some weird crap that I get. And I go, "This is from 10 years ago. I didn't even know I had Facebook 10 years ago."
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember through like 8 years ago, I was breaking up with my then girlfriend and I deleted Facebook. I got rid of everything because it was just getting so chaotic. Sure. And then like 2 weeks later, I was back on. So I only have up to 8 years ago. But it's great. It reminds you when everyone's dead, who doesn't like you anymore.
It's hard to
like, all the fault. Like look at this picture of you and this guy from 4 years ago who wants you to die. Like, who would want you to die a gruesome death 4 years ago. So I like that. It's it's cool. I could see how little like my kids were and stuff like that. My stepdaughters were really tiny, like 8 years ago. So yeah. It depends. Also 2 years ago, we were getting ready to do an appearance in Chicago for C2E2. Which was really great, which was probably one of the highlights of being on the show. So, they sting a little bit. Sometimes they sting.
Yeah. I mean, look, I remember Lyle and I a year ago, we did our show Takedown Breakdown. We were going to work. We were supposed to do an appearance at, who was it with Lyle? We were in Tampa.
It was Squared Circle Entertainment. I think you guys were going to be hanging out with them also.
Yeah, we were going to work with Rob. And it just obviously fell through, and my God, it was going to be. We were going to be a part of his WrestleMania pre-party that he had in the parking lot, and Raymond James, and that was going to be a big thing for us. And it just, but you know what? It all leads full circle because it got us to lead to Alex, and we're doing Off the Mat now, which is awesome, and we're so happy doing it. And it's awesome stuff. But I'll let these guys ask you a few stuff, and then I'll come back afterwards. But we'll go with the first question.
Okay, I'm going to hit it right off the bat. This had the hyped up pay-per-view of AEW Revolution. Now, before the horrible, erectile dysfunction explosion, what did you think of the pay-per-view?
I watched pieces of it. This was Sunday night. So I was on the fence about ordering it, and then I was like, I'm just going to order it, right? But then I was having so much trouble ordering it through the Fight Network, and I was like, I don't understand how this works. Like, maybe that's just me. I don't know, because I normally let me wink into the camera. Normally, people will send me things so I can watch it. Put it that way. That's usually how that works. So I was like, I'm just going to order it. I don't care. And my brother-in-law wanted to order it, so we were talking about it during the day. And I can't remember. I don't know what the hell happened that day. I'm trying to remember. I think my wife was working. Oh, my wife was working at the hospital. So it got a little bit of a chaotic day. And then like 5 o'clock rolled around and people were already posting about it. So I was like, oh, I'll try to jump into some links or something like that because I know I can get on. So I was watching it sporadically. I don't remember what I was doing. I might have been washing my hair. I could have been. I don't really know. I might have been cleaning my glasses at that point because I wasn't really that interested in it. I wanted to see a couple of things. I thought the main was going to be weird. Obviously, no one knew what was going to actually happen. Yeah. The Christian thing I thought was really lame. There was a lot of botches. I'm noticing now their botches are becoming less people are sweeping the botches under the rug. Like, I don't know what the tone is on the show, so if you don't want me to curse, you'll have to tell me now. But
you can say whatever you want.
Stop me. Go for it.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not that rude, dude. But I noticed like when they fuck up, like it's very minimal things pop up, and there's a lot of fuck ups in those TV matches. Some of the stuff that happened in the tag, I was just like, wow, like this has got to be on Botchamania. It's got to be, you know. So yeah, I you know, the ending being what it is, I thought it was a little bit of a slop fest. I thought it was a lot like WandaVision. You know, everyone ran with it in their own head and thought it was going to be one thing, and then it turned out to be something else. And then if you're disappointed, you know what I mean? That's what it reminded me of WandaVision.
Yeah,
like I was like, you know, because like I'm reading, I don't know what your guys' comic acumen is, but you know, I'm reading, it's going to be the X-Men and Mephisto and Doctor Strange is going to come out. And then like, and I'm like, it is? This is amazing, right? And I was like, oh my God, the X-Men are going to be in this? Or, none of these things were ever happening. Like, you know, but they were upset that they don't happen. Isn't that kind of our fault though? I mean, not the main, I mean, the main, I can't really defend the main that much. I don't know. I didn't really, I didn't really, I knew they weren't going to use real barbed wire for the most part. And I was right. I knew it wasn't going to be like an FMW, IWA type circumstance, which is batshit crazy. I mean, nobody really does that anymore. But that ending, I mean, it's hard to shake that, honestly. I really is hard to walk away from that ending, don't you think?
Well, really, I mean, before I let Alex go, John, because I will say this, I learned something today. You know, Vince McMahon had a very famous quote that says, everybody always remembers the ending.
The only thing they remember is the ending.
And that's the only thing they remember is the ending. And I don't know if you noticed, I was joking with these guys before we went in the air. If you ever heard of, you know, I'm sure you've heard of Marvin Martian from Looney Tunes. He has the famous quote, "It was supposed to be a kaboom. What happened to the kaboom?"
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what happened to the kaboom? It turned into a fart in church. But that's really what happened to the kaboom. I mean, I mean, poor Eddie Kingston, man. I mean, that dude sold the crap out of that thing, and it was so freaking lame.
I haven't seen so much committal to that.
I feel so bad for
my second divorce. I would say I haven't seen that much committal to a bad idea since my second divorce. I would probably say I had to really, like, I've been around a lot of porno type acting, and that was wow. You know, I mean, it's so weird. AEW has found this amazing. It's kind of like Walking Dead, the TV show. It doesn't really matter to the people that watch it. They still think it's great. They don't care. It's like you don't.
You know, because they make fun of it too, John, on BTE. That's the thing. Is
yes, they do.
They kind of sweep it under the rug where they poke fun at themselves, where they sweep it that way. Where WWE doesn't really have that show where it's on YouTube where they can make fun of if something is screwed up. Whereas AEW has that where they can say, okay, we're going to poke fun at this.
But the thing is, WWE doesn't want to make fun of itself. See, that's the thing. They would rather insist on themselves than make fun of themselves.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, I just watched. Do you guys know who that young girl is? The girl on Cinema Girl. She's getting very popular. She does movie reviews, but she does some wrestling stuff, and it's very funny. If you haven't seen her, check her out. I like her a lot because she's like I have to find out who her mother is just in case there's a blood test in my future because she acts way too much like me. It's scaring the shit out of me. So. She just did a takedown of NXT 2 weeks ago, and she doesn't really know a lot about NXT, but her complaints were so germane to anybody who watches NXT's complaints. Everybody's very small. This is not very believable. The Johnny Gargano, like she was hitting these marks, knowing that she doesn't know about these people, but she's like, she's laughing at like how small everybody is and how unbelievable. She's laughing at Kyle O'Reilly and she's laughing at Finn Balor. And it's just like, it's like other people will do that. Like WWE is never going to do that, right? I don't watch Being the Elite. I find the Jacksons to be reprehensible. There's something so smug and unlikable about them that I've never really liked them that much. I'm more of a Briscoe guy, but like I'm not denying their success. I'm just saying that like they want these
now,
guys.
when you're talking about Briscoe, John, you're talking about Mark and Jay, or are you talking about like
well, clearly I'm not talking about Jack and Jerry. I mean, how?
No, listen, hey,
You just made Josh very happy.
Well,
the hell, dude.
I will tell you this. I really quick, because I know Alex wants to ask you something, and Alex knows this. We did our top 5 tag team show.
Alex, if this is about the birds and the bees, I don't feel comfortable answering.
No. He comes to me about that.
Okay. I feel like you should have that. I feel like with that mood lighting, you should have this.
Yeah, let me tell you something. You're getting me in the ambiance at this point. Oh no, because you know what it is when I look at Mark and Jay as. I've had this argument with many times. They're so underrated in regards to how they could do any style of wrestling. They could do hardcore style. They could do old style. They could do kind of style match.
Absolutely.
And the thing about it is, like I showed a picture. My wife hates wrestling, and I showed her a picture. I showed her a picture.
That's my fault.
I showed her a picture of Mark Briscoe once. Because I have an ugly sweater of all I want for Christmas is my 3 front teeth. And it's Mark Briscoe's face on it, and my wife goes, "Oh, do you like these guys? Look at them." And I said, "You got to understand the backstory of them. Like Jay is one of the best talkers in the business, in my opinion.
Jay's great,
He's unbelievable." And we went to the show in ROH, and the whole Manhattan Center was cheering for God, and I'm just like, these guys get no respect.
Yeah. There is that little, elephant in the room about the comments that I guess Mark was it Jay make them about gays? Is that Jay or Mark? I know it was one of them. I mean, they made it. It's not like it's fake.
I know it was Mark. Mark made the comment
a bunch of years ago.
He made that thing about a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very similar to what the comedian, one of the most famous comedians in the world. Shows you how popular it is. We don't know his name. Who's in all those movies with The Rock? He's like a midget. What the hell's his name? Kevin Hart.
Hornswoggle?
Kevin Hart. There you go.
Kevin Hart's not that much taller than Hornswoggle.
Kevin Hart, yes.
But it's also
he got canceled.
Yeah,
but is Adam Cole really taller than both of them?
I think he might be actually. I used to like the Young Bucks when I didn't see them all the time. Like I used to like them when they were like popping up in RH or New Japan and stuff. Like I didn't like them when they sort of cemented this company the way they cemented it and how they cemented it. But Alex, what do you want to ask me about? Listen, if she says it's okay, then it's okay. Or is that, if she gave you permission, then if she said yes means yes.
Just know there's a safe word. John will tell you.
The safe word is keep going.
So my question is on AEW. What are your thoughts with AEW working with different promotions like New Japan and Impact? And do you see God going over to confront Matt and Nick Jackson and the Elite because they've kind of been poking back and forth with them?
Yeah, they have, and we don't really know how much of that is just is kayfabe. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's real, obviously. The weird thing is normally I would say yes, I think it would be awesome for them to work with everybody, but Impact has gotten no rub from this whatsoever.
No,
if you look at Impact rating, I mean, it's black and white. I mean, this has been going on for what, like 2 fucking months? Impact has gotten zero uptick in this. Zero. Nothing has helped. It has not helped them in any way.
They had the one episode on Twitch with Omega, and then that was it.
That was it.
They had like 3 or 4.
Well, they've been on. They have a constant like that infomercial thing or whatever, which was funny like the first 2 or 3 times, but now like 9 times, and it's like
it's like always really bad on the mic.
Yeah, he's uncomfortable. I mean, he's kind of like he reminds me of Woody Allen in this Woody Allen person. Yep. He's like the wrestling Woody Allen. You know what I mean? Like he's smart and he knows what he's doing, but he's so awkward he gets in his own way.
He looks at. He almost looks like him when you look at it.
He does. I mean, I'm just waiting for him to be like. I mean, this is crazy, Kenny Omega. I mean, this is crazy, Kenny Omega. But you know what it is, Alex? I don't think it helps anybody. The problem is they decided a few years ago, and we learned this very quickly on the Soup, is that in spite of what they were saying, they were just relying on the people that were already going to show up. They weren't looking to bring old people back in who stopped watching wrestling. They weren't looking to convert other people over. They weren't looking. It was like the people that like the Bucks and like Kenny and like Marty the Squirrel and all these people and the Cowboy and all this other shit. If you like that, this is where you can watch them from now on. They didn't do anything to bring anybody else in. So it's like, I don't see how, and it's proof is in the pudding. Impact is the prime example, right? I mean, Impact is a prime example how little impact they have helping a company. Impact gets like 125,000 people watch it, dude. 150, 150. Like, come on, dude. Like that's.
Well, I could tell you for because I know Lyle and I we have Optimum, and the only way we can watch Impact is on Twitch, and that's a huge problem for them is that because access to is not on all cable network providers, and when you don't have that, that's a killer. But
I agree.
My question I want to ask you is it's a two-parter. One is what got you into starting to watch wrestling growing up, and also what got you into wanting to do the show that you're doing now and everything all the projects that you're working on.
Well, when my earliest memories would be Channel 9. I grew up in Brooklyn, so Channel 9, which became UPN, whatever the hell it's called now. I don't know what it's called now, but WOR. So it's like the Mets were on that channel. Yes. They would have a lot of sci-fi on that channel on the weekend. So we're talking about maybe 79, 80. Bob Backlund is champ. And they had a weekly show, I guess, on Channel 9. We didn't have cable, so that cable wasn't even available then at where I lived in Sheepshead Bay. But we got into it. My brother Kevin was already kind of buying the magazines. So it was a combination of buying magazines, which was like 5 months out of date, but we didn't know because there's no internet, and watching the shows on Channel 9. And then we would go to live shows. So we would go to every one Monday a month in the Garden back then. And if you had cable, if you have like Manhattan cable, which was free in Manhattan through UHF, whatever, you could watch. Lord Alfred Hayes would just do commentary like over a full Garden card. And the Garden cards back then were unbelievable because they lasted forever. There was a mishmash. Like you get a program when you walked in, it'd be like Baron von Raschke versus Chief Jay Strongbow. You know what I mean? The main event is Don Morocco versus Pedro Morales in a street fight or something like that. I saw Bob Backlund, I think, fight King Kong Mosca in 80, 81. Wow. I saw Hogan in the cage was Bundy.
Wow. We're talking old school wrestling here.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite tag team was Tony Garea, Rick Martel. And then they broke that tag team up, and then it was Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. So you had like the Samoans, the Moondogs, and then you had like Bob Backlund, who was like very believable, like at the time before he lost his fucking mind. And he had like Arnold Skolin managing him, and then you had Buddy Rogers with Snuka. I mean, it was just Tito Santana then took over the Intercontinental title for a while. Then you had the tag team with the Can-Am connection. Like I just remember all these stages building up. So I was a big comic guy. I think that lent itself a lot to what I was watching. But as far as Break the Apocalypse goes, after like I don't know how many months of COVID audienceless wrestling that we were watching, that WrestleMania with no audience was just like I couldn't believe how
brutal.
Yeah, it was awful.
I mean, there were I would say maybe one or two.
I don't remember.
I was there, but it was just it was weird. It was
it just didn't feel right. It didn't sit
well.
well.
Awful. It just felt unnecessary and like just whack. It was so. I remember talking to maybe Joey offline, and I was just like I don't even want to watch this. And then I guess somewhere around that time, there's some speculation. I really don't know. But it was when Speaking Out happened. So we had audienceless wrestling, Speaking Out, and I was just like, I just my hands felt so dirty because I felt like I had just spent all this time like sort of co-opting like things that my brother was doing for so long, obviously, and the show was already like 7 years established before I went on, like 6 years established, and like I once the audienceless thing stopped, I noticed how much worse the shows were. And I think the shows were always bad, but I feel like the audience can cover that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no covering up WrestleMania. It was awful. It was terrible. And like you talk about a show like Soup where like a weekly episode does between 20 and 30,000 downloads. WrestleMania post shows do like 40. You know what I mean? Like they're huge numbers. So this is like our season, like where we get the most out of, the most listenership for the year by far. Wasn't into it. Like I wasn't into it. I don't feel like they were that into it either. I don't know how into it they were. We never really talk about it. But then Speaking Out happened. And I was just like, yo, like I can't, because that just pushed me over the edge. Like I will remember that forever. I remember vividly going to my wife and going, I really don't think I want to do this anymore, because I hate some of these people so much. Like they're despicable people. And I feel like I'm helping push an agenda of despicable people, even just by talking about them. Like, you know what I mean? That was hard for me.
That was our first episode, Alex and I, when we did Off the Mat. Our first ever episode was literally when in the middle of the Speaking Out stuff was going on.
Yeah.
That was last
and it was so weird because, it was
It still comes out all the time.
Oh, it always does. There's always
Yeah.
I mean, like I'll be one of the. You said, John, you felt like your hands were dirty. I was, and I'm not afraid to say it, I was a massive advocate for a guy like the Velveteen Dream. And then you hear all the crap that came out, and I said, oh my God, this guy, not only with doing the stuff that he did, the way he went about it, and WWE tried to sweep it under the rug. And then I was like, and like you're seeing like Marty Scurll is still taking the hit from this. Yeah. And yet here's Velveteen, who's still on television. And it's like, whoa, I don't understand.
Well, I will say his career is over. I mean, he was destined to be a big star in the company, and it did seem like that affected his career.
And he had the car accident too, and then it
that's
all.
What I'm saying, right? He's done. Like he's never getting.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me 2 years ago, if you would have said who in NXT could be a future world champion in WWE, I'd be like, well, a Velveteen Dream. Like, you know what I mean? Because
I said that after his first match. I said that after his first match with Andrade, take over. I watched it with Lyle.
Yeah.
I watched that with Lyle, and I said to Lyle after that match, this guy's going to be a star.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was a
Oh, my God.
Yeah, me too.
If you look at the difference between the U.S. and Japan, and you see what happened with Will Ospreay, all that stuff came out about him. He took a hit for a couple days, and then it was like nothing happened.
Exactly.
Well, but he makes his money in another country. I don't think had he been on TV here in the States, this would not have worked for him.
But New Japan shut down. They were shut down during this.
Yeah, they were.
So they had that. You had that thing where you didn't see him. You didn't hear from him. He stopped tweeting. He disappeared. And then now he came back, and no one cares. But you look at what happened with Joey Ryan and Skrull. If they ever show up again, that company is getting hammered. They're getting destroyed. You can prove that when you look at what happened with Joey Ryan the other day, or last week, I think it was, when it came out that he was booking a show for a women's charity event.
Yeah, we talked about it. What shirt are you wearing, Lyle? I'm trying to read your shirt. What is your shirt?
I'm wearing Inner Circle because they're going to split up on tomorrow.
Oh,
so I'm all set.
But I'm wearing.
What do you think about that?
I'm wearing a white T-shirt from the Gap, and I think
Alex has his favorite shirt on. Alex loves
Uniqlo. Yeah, Uniqlo. Whatever.
I'm under the impression. I seriously think Alex wears that shirt every day of his life.
Alex, what's your violence?
Yeah, that's a John Moxley shirt.
He loves that Moxley. He loves Moxley.
I'm a big Moxley fan.
He's a big Moxley.
Now, were you a big Dean Ambrose fan, or are you a big John Moxley fan?
By far, I was a big Dean Ambrose fan.
I like Dean a lot, but that last tail end of him was painful. Like before.
Oh yeah, it was the worst.
They didn't know if he was a heel or a face. Nobody knew what he was.
That was bad.
Who do you like better, Moxley or Ambrose?
Well, honestly, like Moxley wrestles like once a month on TV versus the guy Dean was like in the every title picture and a title holder, and I mean I haven't seen enough of Moxley. It's more.
We have not seen enough of him.
I haven't seen enough of him on TV. I mean, I don't know. I think he always has good matches. I don't think he has.
Yeah, he
matches.
does by far.
But I also think, this guy went from working like 6 days a week to like 1 day a week. And I think it's obvious. I mean, that's one of the things I noticed with these guys right away. And I'm somebody who was buying like Pro Wrestling Illustrated, like, you know, when Dusty was on the cover feuding with Ric Flair or like Greg Valentine, you know. So it's like I've seen all these stages, you know, for 40 years, like literally 40 years. And it doesn't take me very long to notice when a guy doesn't work out like the way he used to. I noticed this when I saw who's the big guys that WWE cut that they never got? The Ascension. So I had to help. I was like the help for the Ascension, both guys last year. And one of those motherfuckers is the size of like a Buick LeSabre. I mean, like he was the biggest man.
Connor.
Like I'm like 6'1", like
Yeah,
190 pounds. So it's like I'm not like a little dude. I was just like, what is this? Is this a human? Like he was so wide and like, you know, and the other one's in great shape, but nowhere as big as the other bigger dude. They were the nicest fucking guys ever, by the way.
Oh yeah,
and, I couldn't say enough nice things about them as people. Like they just were so engaging and like nice. Like
fun
you know,
fact about Connor, he's actually a big Redskins fan.
Oh, is he? I don't know where they're from.
Yeah.
They're such nice dudes, man. Like I hope I would like something come out of this for them because they seem like genuinely good dudes. But it's like I noticed this thing. Like I was in Chicago, so we did an appearance in Chicago, and I had my all access speaking pad. I can go where the fuck I want, wherever I want to go. So I'm walking around and I see where they have. This is before AEW is even a thing. And they're doing like the all-in people, whatever they're calling it at this point in time, 2 years ago, and or Double Down. I don't know what the hell they're calling it. But it's like this big thing. It's like Marty signing and Hangman Page. It was all of them are there, and Punk, by the way. So I was like, you know, I'm always making these jokes about how much bigger I am than people, and like, except for Conor and Victor. But I just want to see exactly the size differential between me and these guys. And like, I'm standing often at the where C2E2 is, maybe like as far away as like this mug is in front of me or whatever, and I see all of them, and they're all so small, and they just look like guys that would host like a game show in the 80s or something. They just didn't look like like everybody's really frail and got like disco. I call them disco jeans, like very poor, like jeans that have not been in fashion for a while unless you're in a Russian nightclub. Like, you know, and like, and they're all like, you know, like hanging out. And I didn't want to I just like watching this because I wanted to talk about it on the show. And I remember I'm texting Joey and I'm like, if I was a part of All In, I would other than Cody, I would probably be the tallest person in the company. Like we're talking like this. And then I saw Punk. And I love Punk's from the hardcore scene. Like, you know, he was a comic book guy. Like, It tugs at a lot of strings for me. But I knew Punk is not no big dude because I'd met Punk at a hardcore show. But I'm like, I just want to see how Punk's looking these days. I haven't seen him in a long time. Really gaunt, like emaciated. And I remember, was it Marty Squirrel sitting in a chair? And it wasn't even like that.
We met Marty. Yeah.
No, I mean, these guys don't look like wrestlers to me. And like I'm like Connor and Victor. I'll send you a picture today of me, Connor, and Victor. You'll know who's the wrestlers and who's the guy scared for his life because this is me. And I'm just like, and I'm not like, and Mitch is a huge guy, like, you know, but they're like huge, like in shape, like lifting a truck huge. You know what I mean?
You know what it is we went to. I know, Alex, I don't know if you ever experienced it because I know you said you're probably going to try to go to Mania this year, but I don't think they're going to have
I've actually met Connor. He's a trainer now at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, Jay Lethal's academy.
Oh, cool.
So I went there one time to do some backstage stuff, and I just happened to run into him in the backstage area. And how I said he's a big Redskins fan, he knows somebody that I used to work with at 106.7, the radio station in DC. And I was talking to him about him, and he immediately knew who that was when I mentioned him. He's a really nice guy.
Now, which one is Connor the massive guy or the not so massive guy? That's Victor.
Connor's the massive guy.
Oh, he's so huge, dude. I mean, that guy. That guy's enormous, bro.
So you think that guy,
he is?
So you think that guy's so? Lionel and I were at Access a couple years ago, and at the time he wasn't so big. I mean, I noticed him. I forget. I think Lyle went to go somewhere, and I went somewhere really quick. We went separately for a few minutes, and all of a sudden I see Drew McIntyre walking by, and I go, what? I go, who is this guy? He's like 6'7".
He's monstrous.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
dude! His boot was the size of my body.
Yeah, he's a pro wrestler.
I go to live after. I go, dude, you missed it. He goes, what? I go, dude, Drew McIntyre walked by here. I swear to God, I think his hand was the size of my head. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. I met. You guys remember Ox Baker? You guys remember Ox Baker?
Ox Baker.
He was a wrestler in the 70s and 80s. He was actually also in Escape from New York. He was the guy. He fought in Escape from New York. He was like the like one of the top level bosses that you had to fight. Essentially, like he fought. Ox Baker was a massive wrestler, and I met Ox Baker at a Fangoria convention in like the late 80s. And he literally picked me up by my neck. And at that point, he's probably already in his 50s. He was like 6'5", 6'6", but like 280 pounds. You know what I mean? And it's like,
wow.
You know when you meet a pro wrestler, dude. Like, and it,
yeah.
And you know, I like a lot of small guys too. I'm not a size queen. This is just, you should look like, if you fake fight, you should look like, part of the prerequisite is you should look like you beat people up. And
I agree with that.
That's just me. You know, like there's a reason, like if you go back to when, when they announced the X-Men movies, right? And everyone was like, who's going to be Wolverine? It should be Arnold Schwarzenegger. It should be like, we just didn't know who the fuck to play Wolverine. And then you hear it's a theater actor from Australia that no one has ever seen in their life, right? But when you see Hugh Jackman and you see the kind of shape he gets in, like he's a monster. I mean, he looks like a superhero. Maybe not the classic 5'3" Wolverine, but he looks like Wolverine. You know, when you see him in those movies, he gets bigger and bigger and more. You see Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool? Deadpool doesn't need to be Diesel. Ryan Reynolds takes that to a whole other level. Like, you know, Hugh Jackman isn't really killing people in the X-Men. He's not really a mutant. You know, the guy who plays Thor, Ian Hemsworth, is not really a god. But you have to look the part. There's a reason why you look the part. You know, the last two people to play Joker, the first thing they both did was they emaciated themselves. What, Heath Ledger did it? And I know because he was living in my neighborhood when he was doing it in Brooklyn. And so did Joaquin Phoenix. They emaciated themselves. Why? Because their vision of Joker is somebody who probably never even really eats. Like he's just constantly conniving, and he's, like they would look at Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger was a diesel dude at one point in his life. He lost like 60 pounds to play that fucking role. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't just walk up and go, yeah, I'll just show up and, 200 pound Joker, big arms. Nobody will notice that, right? Joker working out. No, because it's inconceivable for you to think Joker is going on the treadmill. I just don't know why all these guys get a pass for these buggy whip arms. And, it's just, I don't know. It's not, to me, I don't like it. It's nothing to do with the indies or, and I went to NXT live up here like 5 years in a row when they were still coming up here. But those, guys look like wrestlers. Like Adam Cole is a small guy, but he's got a great talking persona. Like his persona is great.
He definitely does.
He's got charisma.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's got charisma.
Yeah.
Even like when you look at it, like you think of, like you look at Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yeah.
Is he guy, but what he has is his charisma and he draws with the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and his shit looks real. Like Nakamura's shit looks real. Like it used to anyway. His shit looks real.
Well, yeah, and then you went to WWE and
then went to WWE and that was the end of that. You watch old watch old Prince Devitt matches. He's fucking killing himself. I mean, he's killing himself. He is killing himself in the ring to get that over.
Alex,
you guys remember AJ when he was in the Bullet Club? AJ was killing himself.
Oh yeah.
He was
killing himself.
Even now, I mean, I remember. Here's like, I grew up. This is a true story. Lyle knows this. In 2005, when I went to TNA Lockdown in 2005, this was a very, very, very young AJ Styles, and my mom and I are in. My mom took me for my birthday in the crowd.
Is this Manhattan?
No, AJ Styles jumps into the crowd. Who does he land on? He lands on my mother.
Oh my god!
And my mom freaked out. And I was like,
"Of course she freaked out." She was like, "Why is this little guy? Why is this little guy on me?"
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You're talking, John. You're talking, and I've shown Lau had never shown you. I've shown Lau this many times. He still laughs about it that this happened because you see me. I look like a freaking wacko wearing my WrestleMania shirt in 7th grade. But it's. You look at a young
TNA event
where he's thin, nothing, to now being this hulky, looking dude with the long soccer mom haircut.
Yeah.
And it's just a different vibe that he has on for where he was 15 years ago. But you say it, he still looks the part.
He looks like a wrestler.
Yeah, he does.
To me, Kevin Owens, I said this about Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens looks like a wrestler. He looks like a guy who's one of two things to me. He's either a wrestler or he's the bouncer in the club that even though he's not in the best shape, he's the guy you don't want to have throwing you out. Because my experience, guys who look like Kevin Owens, when they hit you, you're going down. You know what I mean? He's a very believable fighter. Like he's a fighting kind of guy.
Mhm.
I believe that. Like, I've seen guys his size get down all over the country, in club after club after club, playing and touring. So it's like, I believe that. I need to be convinced that but it's not necessarily size. It's also it's the physicality, it's how you carry yourself. If I look like I could mug you with a feather, I'm not paying money to watch you fake fight ever. I'm just never.
That's true. That's true. That's
I'm never going to pay money. You're never convincing me. You're never going to like if I could roll up on you and take all your shit, there's a problem. Like because I shouldn't be allowed. I shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I can only imagine what you think of Leon Ruff, man. I can only imagine what you think of Leon Ruff.
What about Marco Stunt?
I never.
Oh, God. And again, we're here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Off the Mat. I'm Josh Silberg with Alex Lowe's and Jon Draper joining us here from the show, Break the Apocalypse. And I know I want to let these guys get more involved with their questions asking. I know Alex had a question, I believe, about NXT, correct, Alex? And what you
Correct.
Going forward. I know Lyle had a very intriguing question afterwards. And I want to.
So my question is about the Undisputed Era. What do you think about them splitting up, and do you see Adam Cole becoming the new NXT champion, and why?
Yeah, I mean, it had to happen just because it's just the way the world is. I mean, like we don't keep everybody together. They were together for way too long. Well, they were. I mean,
yeah, they definitely were.
Adam Cole is the breakout talent. He's always been. Fish is from my town up here in New York. He might actually be here now because he's actually born and raised in Colony, New York, up here. I never saw much in Roddy. Roddy's acting is on like Tom Byron level 80s porn to me, and it ruins every time it was like I've never seen anybody. Like he must have grew up watching a lot of VHS porn because his acting is literally lifted from VHS porn acting. And then you get Kyle. Kyle's shit looks great. He's got cauliflower ears, which you have
to be excited about that rivalry, renewing that ROH rivalry with Kyle and Adam.
I remember it. Yeah, it seems like so long ago.
It does.
But
a very long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, you knew that was going to come anyway. But
yeah,
Bobby gets hurt every week. I mean, the guy's hurt.
I say that all the time.
Like his spine is held together with mental loss. I mean, he gets hurt all the time.
It's such a killer.
Me and my brother-in-law had this back and forth. We said if Adam Cole was my size, he would be the world champion. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not even big. That just shows you how tiny he is. Yeah. He's a half man.
6 foot. I don't believe it.
Oh, dude, he ain't no 6 foot. Come on now.
He's not 6 foot.
5'6".
Dude.
That's why I heard he's 5'6".
He's like 5'6", yeah.
If
he's 5'6"? I'm 5'6".
Oh, yeah.
Dude, if he's 5'6",
that gives me hope he's with Britt Baker.
Let me tell you something. If he's 5'6", my wife's 5'1 3/4. She might be able to take him. I'm just throwing that out there.
But Adam talks like a guy. Adam talks like the classic heel who doesn't back up his shit because he's not but he just is a talker, right? I like his shit looks good in the ring. I like it. But these guys can't leave NXT. I mean, they
can't. They have to stay there.
They have to stay where they are, and I like that. I think that's fine. Same thing with Johnny. I love Johnny in the ring. Johnny outside of the ring, I can't stand.
Same thing. Ciampa too. They can't leave.
The problem with WWE, their main roster, is when they take big people like the Undisputed Era and move them up to the main roster. They totally ruin their picture and everything that's supposed to be part of their character.
Well, look what they did to Keith Lee.
Yeah, I said this to Josh months ago. They took his theme song, "Bask in the Glory," and they made it into a generic, shitty SmackDown versus Raw music.
I mean, they took a hot superstar like Keith Lee, who was killing the business, running NXT, was the hottest T-shirt on the WWE Shop website, and they bring him up. And like Alex said, you put a creative superstar theme on him, and it's like, what is this crap? And then
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think his interview skills didn't help either. I'm just telling you the truth, because here's this massive guy. He's very athletic.
Very bad on the mic.
And he gets in front of him. He's like, "Let me explain this to you. I am not happy with Drew McIntyre." It's like he doesn't know what. He seems so uncomfortable. Like, I'm so nervous. I'm going to forget what I'm going to say, so I say it in this Eddie Murphy character voice.
Do you think Drew's monotone?
Yeah, Drew has no charisma. He's charismaless. He's just charismaless. Like Keith Lee is kind of charisma. Yeah. Keith Lee has charisma, but he can't speak.
But yeah, I like McIntyre.
Drew can speak, but he has no charisma. Drew can speak, but he has no charisma. Drew's speaking about charisma, like, "Oh, Sheamus, I'm gonna get you." It's like, or like they have him doing like whatever goofy internet, whatever dumb internet thing is popular that week. They have Drew doing, like, "Oh, I'm going to do the Macarena on TikTok later." Stop! You're like a 6'6" killing machine. Kill people. Like look at all the things like with Roman. Like Roman,
you had a very interesting. You were dying to ask him before the show started, I believe it was. I know you wanted to get it out and ask what his opinion was.
We kind of spoke about it a little bit about Joey Ryan and the women's charity event.
Well, we did a show on it last week.
Yes. But because we kind of spoke about it a little bit. Now, we spoke about Tony Khan, how he's not very good at talking, and I did not believe for a second. I don't believe for a second the excuse he said for what happened with the.
Okay, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that.
I want your opinion on that.
I off the air, I talked to Shaheen and Brian about it, but the thing is, Shaheen has a lot of connections to wrestling that I don't have. So Shaheen got a person who was on the card to talk to him off the record, and that person had no idea Joey Ryan was involved. Now that's that one person. I think that maybe had this not have been as poorly received, I don't know. It is. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're all following something that was started by carnival barkers and sideshow people, and it's still run like it's in a carnival tent. None of it's really changed. Like the way they treat each other, the way they talk to one another, the way they fuck each other over, and everything about it. Like it's a carny business. So do I believe the carny guy when he said the other carny guy? I didn't know the other carny guy was on this carny show. Not particularly. Like I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I think it was so badly received that everybody had to run for cover. But I said this on the air last week. I have no problem with if like a Jordan Grace gets somebody sending really inappropriate things to her doing something about it publicly. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I have a problem with Jordan Grace being shy about talking about Joey Ryan. She's still good friends with Joey Ryan. She still follows Joey Ryan on Twitter. And it's like, you're the person, if somebody says something about your ass. Yeah, but I'm just saying, but that's what I'm saying. But there's something very insidious about the people who are the first to call everyone out on their bad behavior who do. And I made this distinction last week. I talked about Sabu and what's his face from CZW, the guy who bought CZW from the other crackhead. What the fuck's his name? Who owns CZW?
Speaking of crackheads, I got a crackhead question for you after this.
Who did John Zandig sold it to? John Zandig sold it to what's his face? DJ Hyde, right? So DJ Hyde is not known as a good guy. Sabu is not known as a good guy. Like, Sabu is people have like horrible stories about Sabu, but Sabu and DJ Hyde aren't going on the internet every week talking about safe spaces or women's rights. They're just being scummy guys through and through. You can make your choice. They're not trying to convince you that they're good people. These other guys are trying to convince you that they're good people while really being scummy guys. And I think that there's a very big distinction between those two things.
Like the guy who ran Synergy Wrestling, he came out, or it came out that he was a pedophile, and he had was using a different name. He was all over, acting like he was a social justice warrior online.
Yeah. He was my friend worked the show that he was at where he said my tires were slashed because I'm gay. And it turns out motherfucker just had a flat tire. He never apologized for it. He basically said, people here slash my tires because I'm gay. And the people that put the show, my friend was there. I can't say the name in person, but it's a friend of mine. He was there. And he was like, this motherfucker started all this shit. He had a flat tire. He didn't apologize. He didn't recant what he said. He put it basically out there, because there's a lot of social currency in him saying that his tires were slashed because he's a gay promoter or a gay wrestler. That guy, I don't know enough about. We are going to talk about it this Thursday because Shaheen knows. Mm-hmm. Shaheen knows him, absolutely knows him. And other people have come forward and told me they know him personally because he's a Jersey guy and I'm in New York, I knew who he was because he was following me, but I never interacted with him. I think he may have liked the soup at one point. Couldn't tell you. I don't fucking know. But he was another one, big on fingering people, no pun intended, yelling at people for not we got to make safe spaces. And it's like, dude, why? So you can meet boys? Like, what are we making these spaces for?
Yeah.
So you don't get arrested again? So I think because a normal person doesn't want bad things to happen to anybody. Well, like a normal person isn't a sexist or a racist or a pedophile or a homophobe. That's just being normal. I could tell that's just being normal. I didn't realize that you had to declare this. I thought the idea was that unless you act otherwise, you should be perceived as a good person unless acting otherwise. The problem is guys like Joey Ryan, David Starr, all these people, there's a pattern here. And I think people need to follow the pattern. They're constantly yakking and nipping at people and trying to get people in trouble. And then you hear the real world comes in and you're like, oh my God, they're so much worse than anybody that they were talking about. Their behavior is so much worse. It's criminal. And it's criminal. I mean, these are criminals. These guys are criminals. They're criminals.
Speaking of criminals, I got a question for you about a criminal. And I need to know this right now. Do you think New Jack should be in prison?
I mean, again, all right. So I got a text message about this today. I'm just going to
It wasn't from me.
I'm not joking. Nope.
It wasn't from me. I can tell you that.
I got a text message. Here it is. Here we go. Hold on. I'm going to read it to you. I'm not going to say who sent it, but.
New Jack. I mean, you can say it if you want.
No, the person didn't give me their permission to say it, but basically, it was. Where is it?
100% going to make me feel bad now.
It's somebody. Here we go. Where the fuck is it? I know it's in here. It was. New Jack is clear. Do you think AEW is going to hire him? Ha 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 ha. And I'm like, yeah.
Let me tell you something. You want to give that dude a chance to do a barbed wire death match? That's the guy.
But again, here's
New Jack versus Joey Janela.
New Jack is not walking around denying anything he's ever done. New Jack is not calling out other people for their bad behavior. New Jack is not trying to get other people in trouble, throwing them under the bus. Oh, look at that dog. New Jack is being who he is.
She loves the camera, this dog.
But the thing is, New Jack acts the way he acts, and you decide if you want to support that or not. Just like Sabu, just like DJ Hyde, a lot of these CZW, guys who bleed all over glass for a living. A lot of these guys are scummy, fucked up guys. You decide.
John, he threw a guy 100-something feet from the balcony and he even admitted he tried to kill him and he was high.
Yeah, but you know that. Oh yeah, no, I know. But the thing is, people, and the thing with
the mass transit incident.
I have that. I still have that on VHS. But I'm like, but Eric Goulas, I think his name is whatever. But I'm saying, people kept hiring him. New Jack didn't then turn around and be like, we just got to stop calling. We got to be nicer to women. We got to start being really nicer to women. No, he's probably calling women bitches and hoes. You could decide if that's somebody you want to support. I don't like this. There's this new breed of people who come up and act like they're playing a character. Their character is, I'm going to rat out everybody. If you say something about Charlotte's plastic surgery, I'm going to try to get you kicked off of Twitter. But I'm raping and drugging women on the side. But don't time out. Let's not get in trouble for that. You know what I mean? That's my kayfabe. In kayfabe, I'm a pedophile. But on my wrestling persona, I'm a social justice activist.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
Well, John,
John,
we're gonna let you get on with the rest of your evening for sure. Listen, we really appreciate you coming on with us. I mean, this was an hour, but it was so worth the hour. Can I just say that?
Well, you guys have any questions? Alex looks like he wants to ask me a lot. I feel like Alex
you want to ask more?
Do you like the NXT's moving to Tuesday nights starting April 13th? Do you agree this will benefit WWE and allow them to focus on their talent more instead of just short promos that don't have much detail? Because when NXT is on Wednesday nights, like how they are now, there's just not enough TV time to really allow these superstars to come up with a good promo and show it enough on TV.
Well, the thing that my understanding is they're being forced by the network because they're going to start covering sports on Wednesdays. So because the NBC, so that's, it's funny because I read what Cody said about this, and it's emphatically not true. It's so empirically incorrect. Like, I don't understand why no one didn't call him out for this. He was basically alluding like, well, we've been kicking their ass at that time slot for so long now. No, NBC Sports is folding the network, and they're going to have, since they own USA, they're going to put those sports that draw bigger ratings on over a TV show that draws like 600,000 people. That's what that's about. That's really there's nothing to do with
it's the right move.
With AEW. To me, I think it's the right move, but I don't think it's going to change the programming, unfortunately, because whatever
thing about it,
whatever bug came in there and ruined that program about a year or so ago, it's still there. They're trying to be Raw. They're trying to be SmackDown with people who will never be on Raw and SmackDown. The Johnny Gargano thing, this is one of the worst gimmicks I've seen in
the way gimmick. I agree. I do not.
It's a terrible.
It's so
beneath his talent.
It's nothing like his talent.
It's not even that. But even like Austin Theory as a guy, Austin Theory is so super talented. He doesn't need.
Yeah, Austin Theory was an Evolved champion.
I know.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I have a theory about NXT. Now, if you think about back to what they were on the network, they were an hour, and majority of it was pre-taped, and they were just you didn't have the main guys on most of the time. My theory is that they masked all the horrible things about that show, and now that it's live on Wednesdays, they can't do that, and now you see it all. So when they were taped for a week on the network, they could edit out all the bad things, redo it all they want, and if someone wasn't doing well, they could put something else on there in that time slot. They had so much more freedom to hide what was bad about it, and now it's live, you see everything.
Yeah, but Lyle, don't you think the reason why it was so good was because it was only an hour and they had no choice but to get us and give us that hour? They had no choice.
Like,
that was must-watch
everything.
That was must-watch. That was the only thing I watched perpetually on the network. Other than the pay-per-views, obviously. I mean, I went and saw them live up here like 4 or 5 years in a row, and it depleted every time. Like, it was a little less. By the third year, it was half full. By the fourth year, I sat second row. I mean, it was just, I sat second row. Like, it was not even like that big of a deal. Like, I was like, second row, this is amazing. Like, I saw Bailey beat Alexa Bliss there with my kid like 5 years ago, and then it was so loud, you couldn't hear anything. People were screaming so much when it was Enzo and Cass. The main event was a triple threat match with, I think, Finn Balor, KO, and the Prince Pretty there, dude. Like, I'm just like, as I'm saying, it was like, dude, but it was great. I mean, it was just like, dude, it was amazing. It was just like, oh my God, it was so exciting, to be at the live product. I think they tried to make it something that it wasn't. And I know Vince got his paws in there, or someone else got their paws in there, or God knows who got their paws in there. It's bad now. It's a bad show. This whole thing with Dexter Lumis, I mean, I'm getting the impression that he fucks all these people. Like, that's when I watch this, it's like, does Dexter Lumis have sex with all of them, and then they become like in a cult with him?
Well, Indy Hartwell likes him.
Yeah, but it's like, no, I'm not even joking.
Speaking of the birds and the bees.
But I'm like, is it like a sex cult? Is he like doing a sex cult? Like an ambiguous sex cult?
When you see those eyes, and clearly Indy's into it, I mean, clearly there's something going on there in the back that we just don't know about, but it could be a storyline.
But it's like, it's so and a lot of it's so lazy. It's lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy. It's lazy storytelling.
Well, they're gonna try, and we're gonna talk about this in the next segment. I know they're gonna try to have a banger show tomorrow.
I think
you're seeing it. They have two major announcements they're going to announce, which I think I don't know what they are, and they're going to have two championships on the line: their heavyweight championship and their women's championship on the line. So they're going to try to have a banger show because I'm curious how Dynamite's going to go tomorrow. If they're going to poke fun at this,
my prediction is
Eddie said that Omega's pissed. He said
Kingston will come out and try to make light of it. They'll use Kingston to make light of it because he's very
exactly. Because the reporters Alvarez said it today that Kenny's pissed because they did a pre-show test and it came out fine. But the problem is when you do a pre-show test, you don't know how good those fireworks are compared to the ones that you're going to use in the show.
Yeah. It was disappointing. I mean, they'll weave it. They'll work it into a shoot. Obviously, you know what I mean. They will.
Oneida had. I mean, John, you know this. Oneida had barrels. went on the side of the ring. They had barrels of when the explosions.
Yeah, I used to buy them in the 90s. I used to get them.
They had the big. This one was just a little. The minute I saw, I'm gonna talk about this in a few minutes with Lyle and Alex. But the moment I saw the sparklers happen, I said, "Oh God, this is going to be garbage."
Well, I mean, but
it's like a City Field fireworks show after that.
But the thing is, they showed you Onita. They showed you FMW and matches to get you, for people that never saw these before, to make you think that this was going to be that, right? And just like WandaVision.
And it wasn't.
And now people are pissed. The difference in that WandaVision is that they told you it was going to be this. You didn't make this up. It wasn't on comicbook.com going, we think it's Mephisto at the end, who's the cat, who's going to be the devil. None of this existed. This was never in the show at all. They told you real barbed wire. Most of the barbed wire was rubber. You could tell by the way it was moving.
That was what was reported. That most of the rubber.
Almost all of it was rubber. There was no explosions at the end. There was very little.
And then when they hit the barbed wire, the explosions weren't that very big.
They weren't right. They weren't compared to FMW or like Terry Funk, or like Onita versus Mr. Tojo or whatever.
Well, I didn't like the setup. I didn't like the setup because one,
it was a bad setup.
The thing was, when you think of barbed wire, John, and Lyle was at the house watching with me. When you think of barbed wire, you think of there's no ring ropes. Mm-hmm. It's straight
barbed wire.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, by the way, let's not lose. I don't know how much you follow death matches. I don't, but I'm on a show with a guy who was, working with GCW since it started. This is done a lot in the States. This is not as uncommon as we think. Take COVID out of it. GCW does shit like this all the motherfucking time. I mean, they do. I mean, that's kind of their thing. I mean, not necessarily barbed wire, but they do exploding glass and panes of glass and
fluorescent light bulb tubes.
Like
the tables from the outside looks so indie-ish with the tables, with the barbed wire inside. Where I think with AEW, there was just so much more they could have done that to not make it look so cheap and cheesy and look like that. It was just so.
I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have, if I knew we were using the rubber, which is fine. I mean, I don't need to see barbed wire matches anymore. It's just like whatever. Like it's, it was cool. It's okay. I'm not really into the get hepatitis from the wrestling people. Like I'm not. Like I don't need that. Yeah, I'm fine. You don't need to get hepatitis in front of me. Like I've heard horror stories of death matches from people that like if I was like. I'm not squeamish, but I don't want dudes. I don't want to go home. Like Shaheen used to tell me, he used to clean the blood off of all of his clothes, like of sneakers and stuff from GCW, because the blood was so thick from these matches. This is Jersey. This is not like this is fucking South Jersey. This isn't like IWA in the 90s or something. So they had. I mean, it's not like. And Moxley was in a lot of these matches in CZW. He did these matches in CZW.
Mm-hmm. He did.
He did crazy shit.
Oh my God! Yeah, he did the meat carver thing. I mean, like. Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, it's not like no one.
The cheese grinders.
The cheese grater, but he also did the turkey cut, like the carver. You ever see the famous thing, the carver thing in his head? So it's like, they've done this before. They know how to do these things. If I knew that they were good, if I had a hand in that, I would have said, listen, we're not obviously using mostly rubber barbed wire, which is fine, but the explosions need to be big because that's going to take away from the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because they're obviously going to gig and they're going to bleed. Everyone does that. I mean, they do it all the goddamn time. I mean, look, Cody does that. Like, Cody does that for anybody. Like, he'll gig for anybody. Yeah. So you knew they were going to blade. You knew you were going to see blood, a lot of blood. I mean, it wasn't really that bloody, actually. All things considered.
No, I think the thing that bothered me the most was, when you're using Onita for the promo, right. You might as well, and you saw Moxley used his jacket that he used to put to. Well, you might as well just make a carbon copy of the match then, the way it was. One, and two, why don't you? And I wrote this in the article I wrote today for the network. Why don't you? You could have made it really fun and had Moxley come out to Wild Thing, like do it that way, and get the crowd really engaged. People are going to go, oh my God, this is freaking awesome. This looks like the video we saw on YouTube. This is great. He's coming out to the jacket. He's coming out to the Wild Thing. This is so cool. I mean, it's, you might as well make a carbon copy. If you're doing all this, just copy what was working.
But instead of Wild Thing, it was more like Mild Thing. Because it wasn't really that wild.
Yeah, the way that match was.
Can you imagine what Onita must have thought at the end? I'd be like, this was bullshit.
Oh, he was fine. I
thought about that. Like, poor fucking humiliated.
I mean, listen, Terry
Why
Funk.
did they call me? Why did they call me if they were going to make a PG Disney version of my
Terry
thing?
Funk did the freaking matches shirtless with explosions and barbed wire
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Man.
Abdullah the Butcher, the old sheep herders that became
Or Mick Foley when he got his ear caught in the barbed wire and he lost
Foley got him with
Foley
Funk.
lost the year. Yep.
There was I think it might have been it was the sheep herders who became went to WWE, became water
I hear like an explosion upstairs in my house. We just got the dog 2 weeks ago. My wife's trying to control him and she can't do it. I mean, she's like screaming.
It's very funny to watch.
I think it was a UWF match between the sheep herders and the Fantastics in a barbed wire match.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, and by the way, the reason why they had left the ropes up there was so Kenny could do his flippy things. So he can't do the flippy flip.
The moment I saw that live, what was the first thing I said to you? I said, I hate this because
I don't remember
barbed wire thing. I said they're not doing an actual barbed wire thing.
Yeah.
Well, I did think that's why they had the one side up.
You should remember that clearly you weren't listening to me. You were probably glued to your cellular device. But that's besides that.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going to do it, do it. Like, otherwise, then don't do it. No one was clamoring for this. I would have been fine with if they could have said, we're going to do an Iron Man match 60 minutes.
Why don't they just do what they did?
Oh, fuck, that sounds cool.
I would love that.
Why don't they just do what they did the first time? The non-section match.
Yeah, or
that didn't go over well the first time.
It was a great match the first time.
They should have done a scaffold match or a 60-minute Iron Man match because that would have been cool. I would have liked that. They didn't need to do this. They didn't need to do this. No one was for them to do this.
The problem with the 60-minute Iron Man match is that every single person watching is going to expect Omega Okada 4.
They could have,
but every single person watching expected Onita, Mr. Tojo 3 with the minus the Piranha.
That's true. That's true too.
You know, I thought they were going to blow that fucking place up because I was like, they got a lot of money. They don't mind. They'll spend it on anything over there. Mm-hmm. They are going to blow that place. Is going to be an inferno. Yeah. Like I'm like they are going to blow that place. That is going to be bombs will be going off. Like people will be calling the cops. That's how bad that's going to be. Nothing. It was a shade of the thing that they copied from another country. Which, again, these matches happen in GCW. Like they're not that uncommon. They happen, they just don't happen to have two major millionaire guys in them usually. But they do happen. It's funny. I don't want AEW to be unsuccessful. I want it to be good. I want it to be a real alternative to WWE instead of a bitter ex-girlfriend. And it seems like they are content on being the bitter ex-girlfriend who's like maybe a little bit younger. Has like a little bit of a nicer house or something. Like, I don't know. I really thought they were going to try and get my age group back into watching. Instead, they want to get my age group back in the ring. So somebody explain that. I don't understand like why that fan base is so adamant against anybody over 35, but any wrestler over 45, they will like whip their balls out like immediately. Like, yes, this is what I really want to see. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense because the viewership is aged towards much younger people and smaller people. And you're getting in like, by the way, Christian, I saw Christian at Comic-Con. Christian's enormous. Like, and he's not even a big guy. He's enormous. He's like 6'3", in shape, enormous guy. You know what I mean? So he's going to dwarf a lot of people there, dude. Watch how you see Christian dwarf some of these real dwarfs.
Oh, I believe it.
All right.
Which I want to point out, you had him come in the Rumble, and everyone was really excited to see him and Big E and see him come back and wrestle because he looked good.
Yeah, he looks good.
But then I felt like when he went to AEW and debuted, a lot of the same people were shitting all over it.
Well, I mean, but the reality is Christian is not going to do anything in AEW. He's not.
He's not.
No.
He's not. They would never. They're never. He's not getting belts. He's not. He'll be in a tag team by the end of the year with somebody. Like that's how that's going to work. The company is geared towards 7 or 8 people. That's it. Like they're going to rotate 7 or 8 people. 6 of them are executive vice presidents. 3 of the top 4 executive vice presidents have the 3 of the 4 belts in the company.
Yeah, I'll say it to this day. Going back, I say it when Lance Archer fought Cody, I hated the decision to let Cody win that match. You have a monster of a behemoth man destroying everybody, coming out to a theme song, everybody dies, only to have all that momentum and then lose it in a pay-per-view.
Well,
Perfect match.
Josh, this is where you're wrong. His momentum died because everything did die. His momentum died because Cody, Cody has to do
There's
more
no
jobs.
reason for Cody to win. Everybody knows who he is.
No, instead of doing jobs for Darby, you should be doing jobs for the killing guy, Brian Cage or Lance Archer. That makes sense to me. You know, the reason why Brock worked so well as he did was because no one doubted the validity of Brock just killing people. No one doubted that. You know, I still to this day, I think one of the best things in the 21st century WWE ever did was having Brock treat John Cena like a little baby doll. Like, and here's this massive, muscular superstar guy, and he just tosses him around like a doll, like a baby, and bleeds and beats his ass, like with no mercy.
That was great.
Brock needed to do that because Cena was bigger than the company at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Cena was a rocket. Like, you needed to do that. Cody's never going to do that for anybody. The Bucks are never doing that for anybody.
See, but that's the weird. But the weird thing is, John, it's weird you say that, and I agree with you to a certain extent. The weird thing is he did it for Brody Lee, though, which is the weirdest thing. He got squashed for Brody Lee.
He did, yeah.
Why did he not?
That's because he was going on to the HBO show.
Well, that's because he was going to shoot that TV show.
I know, I understand.
Yeah.
I know he was doing the show, but at the same time, though, is what makes any difference of him trying to put over another town who they just signed, who was going, by the way, who had just wrestled at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom against Jon Moxley in Archer. Why not put somebody with all that momentum over who had just also had Jake Roberts be his manager? Over instead you squash him. What has Lance done since he's in a ladder match? He loses. He's in other matches. Now he's getting pinned the last few weeks on his matches.
Well, it's over. It's over. It's done. It's over.
I mean,
he's
Braun
Strowman.
I said that was going to happen the moment this happened.
He's Braun Strowman, right?
Same thing with Sean Spears. Same thing with Sean Spears. When Cody beat Sean Spears, and Sean Spears had all that momentum, and he lost that match, I said, done. You'll never hear from him again. You don't hear from him.
The idea is that the money's always in the chase anyway. But the difference is you had guys like Braun, and to a certain extent Brock, but Brock's a whole other animal. Brock's in a whole other food group, right? But Braun's momentum died when Braun went from picking up trucks and throwing them across the room to dancing with little kids and doing nursery rhyme shticky things because they wanted Braun to be like a star. And unfortunately, I think Cody doesn't have enough passion for any of these other guys that aren't in that little clique to say, yeah, it's really important that Brian Cage beats the shit out of me because this way we'll make money with Brian Cage just beating the shit out of big name top guys all the time. Like Brian Cage and Lance Archer should be killing people in that company. They should be killing people.
Well, Hobbs
is a nobody.
Yeah.
He's a nobody, but if you build him the right way, John.
But they won't even build the right way guys that are already have a huge pedigree. I mean, the best wrestler in that company is Rey Fenix. He's the best wrestler in the company.
Oh.
He's the best wrestler in the company.
So
right?
great.
He's never going anywhere. This is whatever the limit. The sky is the limit. He's at the sky.
Even Pac. What about Pac?
Pac's a bit of a wild card because A, he gets hurt a lot, and B, he was just gone for a year for COVID. Yeah. He wouldn't come back for COVID or something.
Who's another guy that I think that they should push more, and it might be a little biased this with me, but that's whatever. Is Pentagon.
I like Pentagon a lot. Fine. I'm fine.
He gets the crowd.
I love him.
They love his hand. Everything about him. Yeah. He was huge in Impact. His matches, his rivalry with Sami Callihan was unbelievable.
Lucha Underground.
And more into a singles guy and make that happen.
Because he's not in the crew. He's not an executive vice president.
And that's the problem.
It's not,
it bothers me so
that's a major issue.
But it's evident in the hierarchy of the show. It's evident.
I know. It just drives me nuts. It really does.
It's evident. And at one point, when Cody had the belt and Kenny had the belt and the Young Bucks had the belt, that means all 4 executive vice presidents have the major titles in the company. I mean,
I didn't even realize that Cody had
it's amazing.
So now only 3 have them? I mean, okay. Wow, it's only 3 now.
Well, let me ask you this. Was the decision to let the Young Bucks beat FTR?
That was a bad move because the Young Bucks don't need to win.
I agree with that.
Yeah, they've already done a lot in business.
And they're not losing fans for losing matches.
FTR cannot be Marco Stunt now. This is what they've come to.
They're established guys. When a guy is when people are that established, they don't need to win as much anymore.
No, they don't. It's,
I mean, like FTR
all
really
they have to
needed
do,
that.
all they really need to do is just help the other guys get over. That's it.
FTR needed that, but instead they give them Tully, 65-year-old Tully to play with, and now they're going to give Sean Spears in there. It's like it's all distractions to keep.
Yeah,
away
it is.
from the
I
fact
didn't like that whole thing of bringing Tully Blanchard.
like Ray Phoenix should have the belt that Darby Allin has. That's what I'm like.
Do you think Cody's going to join? I know Lyles made this a sticky, but do you think Cody's going to eventually join that Four Horsemen group with FTR and Sean Spears? Or
well, they don't have the rights to say the name.
Conrad owns it. Conrad owns it, and I don't know him being on the show the other day, last week. They could do it because WWE does not own that name.
But guys,
and Cody
guys,
tried to trademark it.
You're going to do that without Ric Flair in the company? Come on, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
right
going to do that.
No,
you know what's funny is I didn't even think about that.
You're gonna do that. You're gonna do that with Tully and Arn. I mean, like, okay, yeah, wow, like, okay. I mean, it's like it's just really no Ric Flair, and you want to use the gimmick? Yeah, okay. Like that's weird. I don't know. They're dying to use all these gimmicks that they don't want to use.
I didn't even think about that.
Ric Flair has a very volatile relationship with WWE, so I wouldn't be surprised if you saw 80-year-old Ric Flair next year, like trout out and be like, I'm going to vent the Four Horsemen here because they wouldn't let me do it there, because apparently he's always had some kind of drama with how they use him. But it's just like, maybe make your own Four Horsemen, call it something. I don't know, like make it something else. I have no idea. The WWE came up with in the 21st century that got over, right? New Day, huge. The Wyatt family,
I agree.
huge.
The Wyatt family was the most.
The Shield.
Yeah,
New
the
Day,
Shield
Wyatt
was
family.
the biggest. The Shield
huge.
was
Three huge things. Money makers through and through.
Oh yeah,
made money.
They were.
Now they made all that up in the last 10 years, right? 10 years? Mm-hmm. 10 years. So it's not impossible. I mean, it's not impossible to make these things up. Make something up. I don't I don't understand. It's WWE came up with these things by accident, probably. Like the New Day was supposed to be like a jobber thing that was going to be like a joke. It was enormous. It's fucking enormous. I'm surprised it wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon. The Shield was enormous.
Yeah,
the Wyatt family was enormous. Enormous gimmicks.
Yeah.
All 21st century gimmicks.
Look at all the matches they had, like the Shield versus the Wyatt family at Elimination Chamber. The Shield taking on the New Day, like 2 years ago.
One of the first cinematic matches WWE tried was that weird, snuff film they did with New Day and the Wyatt family. It was so weird. Like in the fields there, when Xavier Woods was like having a panic attack. It looked like for real. He was scared for real.
I don't remember that.
Oh, dude, it was a cinematic match. It was the New Day versus the Wyatt. And Xavier Woods was like, I don't want to mess with
the one in the Wyatt compound. Yes.
They looked like the clan. They looked like
clan
members
okay.
Guys in hoods showed up and shit. And
Yeah, the Shield. My favorite thing about the Shield, when I saw their matches, was how they were just risk takers. They didn't care. They would just go to any limit to win. And like Seth Rollins, he would just jump off the top of stuff all the time.
They were great. I mean, but all of these things are relatively new. These are 10-year-old gimmicks. These aren't 40-year-old gimmicks. Like this isn't Sting coming out to rain and snow and a rafters and all. We've seen all this before. Somebody came up with those three factions. I don't know who made them up, but somebody smart. And by the way, the Hurt Business is starting to look like.
I know who probably did it. It was probably Michael Hayes.
The Hurt Business is looking like it's going to be something now too.
Yeah,
like the Hurt Business, you cannot take that seriously anymore.
I can tell you 100%, John. I think Michael Hayes had something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe
with the Freebirds.
100%.
I mean, you have to remember the New Day. They put
the Freebird rule. Yeah, they put the Freebird rule back. I love that.
Fake Hall of Fame.
But I'm just saying, if WWE could come up with those three teams that are
definitely Michael Hayes.
Millions and millions of dollars and T-shirts and dolls and toys and spin-offs and headlining pay-per-views, headlining
WrestleManias.
How many of those guys are world champions? How many of them right now? Like, let me see. Every member of the Shield.
Oh yeah,
Bray, and Kofi. So you got like the half of that roster is world champions in the last 8-9 years. I mean, obviously they knew what they were doing. Make something new. If you want to use the Four Horsemen, that's fine. I don't think using it without Ric Flair is appropriate. Who wants to see a Four Horsemen anything without the leader of the premier Four Horsemen? It's nice that they got JJ. Like JJ get some work. That's cool. JJ's a nice guy. But Arn and Tully, they'll figure out a way to get all that built in together. I'm curious. Tomorrow night's going to be very interesting, guys. I think tomorrow night
it's going to be interesting to see.
Tomorrow night's going to be very interesting.
Can I ask you a quick question? Because I know you have to go.
Yeah, I got to bounce in a minute.
Really quick. In regards to what the way AEW's tag team division is, I've had conversations with these guys about it in the past. AEW is the best tag team division, in my opinion, in professional wrestling. I don't want to speak on behalf of these guys, but they do. But yet, for some particular reason, they keep throwing together these random tag teams like MJF and Jericho and Phoenix and Pac. And when you have teams like the Best Friends, FTR,
The Acclaimed, Jurassic
Express, like you have all these great tag teams. Why are they constantly throwing these like Hangman and Kenny? They're throwing these random tag teams together when you have certified.
I can tell you 2 seconds because they only have 2 hours on primetime television, and everybody's got to get their shit in. That's why there's 8 tag team matches. We got a 6-on-6. We got a 5-on-4. We got a 3-on-9 because they got to get everybody on TV. Everybody's got to try to get because no one wants to be on
Japan
Dark.
does the same thing.
Yeah, no one wants to be on Dark.
Oh, well, their division.
No one really wants to be on Dark. And then the other show's not going to be on network television either. You could either team with Anna Jay on Dark, or you could have this hodgepodge tag team where you have to do a job to Kenny and MJF or whatever. Which one do you want to do on the primetime? I'm going to be in the primetime show. That's fine. There's 800,000 people. How many people watch Dark? 100, 200,000, 300? I didn't think it's that much, is it?
I think it's last I checked it was 260. That was
260
at the viewership wise. So yeah.
So it's 790 versus 260.
Yeah.
You got to get all these guys in. They only have that one primetime show, so that's why there's 500 tag matches with we're going to have Ray Phoenix is going to team with the guy who sells ice cream, and then the other guy is going to team with the FTR. It's we got to get everybody. Everybody's got to get their shit in. It's just, it's like an indie card where there's 25 matches, and you think, oh, this is great. It's 20 matches, and then 15 of them are like, I don't even want to watch any of this. Well, everybody had to be on the show, so I think it's because they have to get people on that network, and they only have that 2-hour slot. And a lot of that 2 hours is going to the executive vice presidents and their shenanigans and, and all the interview stuff and to pretend they're pushing the women, which is a big thing they pretend to do. So it's just like, even though their tournament is on the internet, yeah, that's what it is. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon because the other network show they're doing isn't a network show. It's also on the internet. So let's see what happens with big shows. What are they calling that show now? The big show one?
Dark Evolution. Elevation.
What night
Elevation.
is that be on?
Elevation.
Monday, I think 7 to 8 or 7 to 9.
So it's an hour, and then the other Dark is an hour, right?
Dark was supposed to be an hour, but then it ended up being 2 hours.
Oh
but the Elevation, I think, is going to be 2 hours, and Dark is going to go back to 1 hour.
Dark is okay. So they're gonna, but again, this is not on primetime television, so it's there's a limit to who's going to watch it. Versus, I mean, you're talking about less than a third of the people watching this one show that you could be on versus 3 times as many people being on the other show. I don't care who I am. I want to be on I'll put me on that show. Put me on the network show. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. I'm surprised they're not doing another network show. I'm very, very surprised. I don't know why they're not doing another network show.
I would say something on TBS.
What's that?
Do something on TBS.
I thought the other show was going to be on the internet.
No, it is. But I'm saying if they were, they should do something on TBS.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what the.
I know it kind of sounds like WCW-ish.
Yeah, it does. But again, I would have ran with that from day one. This is the first time wrestling's back on TNT, whatever. Yeah, it was good for a long time on TNT. Is it going to be like that show, or is it going to be different? Again, it's this soft touch where it's we really don't want the viewers who used to watch this show on TNT called Nitro, which was an amazing show for most of its run, and it was a groundbreaking show.
Yeah, that makes no sense. They don't want the hardcore wrestling viewership that Nitro.
Well, you know what that is, Alex, to me, and I'll end on this. I don't think they want the scrutiny from those people because Marco Stunt and the Jurassic Twinks or whatever can make a huge they can make a huge botch, right? And none of their fan base cares. The Young Bucks can make ketchup on their dad's head, and no one because the fan base is so culty that they don't care. But if you try that on another network, on another wrestling program, on another company, if Impact did that, it would be like the joke of the week was Impact's ketchup scene, which was clearly ketchup. Like their father looked like a drunk Steven Seagal. Like they threw him up against the wall. They got ketchup all over the wall. It was just like, come on, dude, this is awful. This is like a child.
That looked bad.
But they don't care. But the thing is, they know the fan base doesn't care. Their fan base has already said, we don't care if it's bad. We just like you so much. You flip real good. We're going to be here no matter what. You know what I mean?
Well, their fan base crapped all over them for the explosion. Everyone was crapping all over them for that.
Oh, yeah.
The majority of theirs was. But that could be a good thing.
All over Twitter.
Well, but again, there were some people saying that it was intentional. That was actually that.
I don't believe that. I think Tony Khan lied through his teeth with that.
Yeah,
I think that they had something planned and it didn't go off as planned, and they tried to just spin it.
Happens all the time. Remember Roman 2 months ago?
Say that.
Handcuff off?
Just say it.
Remember Paul had to do the thing for Roman to get the handcuff off. He couldn't get the handcuff off.
Yeah, that was bad too.
He was stuck to the. He was stuck.
It was terrible.
It was.
He was stuck. He couldn't get the fuck out. He couldn't get off. He was handcuffed. What could he do? It's a live TV show. Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens. Instead of just pretending that it was supposed to happen, that actually kind of got swept under the rug because people like the match so much. So, I mean, that might be part of it too. But at the end of the day, it was a sparkle fest. It was not a good idea. I hope they know not to do that again. I think we will not see that again. Everyone's saying they're going to do it again now because they're going to make a bigger deal and do a bigger version of it. I'm like,
no, dude.
I would not.
Really?
No.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Well, tomorrow night's
I'm not saying I want to see it, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Tomorrow night is going to be an interesting night of wrestling for sure. That's for sure. Jon Draper, ladies and gentlemen. All right, John, tell the fans how they can reach out to you on social media and everything like that going forward and stuff like that.
Well, you could check out our podcast. It's called Break the Apocalypse. It's on every major platform. Comes out every Friday. It's recorded because I have to get edited a lot for lawsuits. And the full shows are available on Patreon. We have a really good Patreon going where we have all the unedited shows. They run almost about 3 hours now. So you get the free weekly show every Friday on all major platforms called Break the Apocalypse. But you only get about half a show. And then you get the full show on the Patreon where you also get a Q&A show, every bonus show every month, which we're going to start doing more of. We're going to double up on them. And it's only $5 a month. $5 a month gets you the full catalog going back to September, every full show and plus every Q&A show. And the Q&A show is only Patreon people get to ask the questions. So it's basically, we're getting in a good groove now, people from Patreon, where it's like a lot more people are asking questions. So the show is so much longer. So we're going to split the show. But other than that, I haven't really been doing much in terms of wrestling. I just wanted to put the focus on the comedy stuff for a while wrestling kind of fixed itself. And it looks like it's actually not fixing itself. So I don't know when I'll be back. But, people do ask me this a lot whenever I do a wrestling show. And I'm just going to say this. There is some talk about doing something with my brother, Kevin Castle, about doing a wrestling show in the future, us doing our own show. Just given the circumstances now and how bad wrestling is, that's why it's not happening. Because I would want maybe after COVID and maybe after there's audiences and people going and, house shows and moving parts, we'll address that again. But it's not completely dead. I think I misspoke on a couple of other shows where I said that. It's just not in the cards right now because I don't think wrestling it's not as interesting to cover. When we get audiences and audience shows again and touring shows and more than what we're getting right now. Yes, I think it might be worth entertaining.
I think we're tired of the Superdome and we're tired of Jacksonville at this point.
Yeah, we're all. Yeah, I mean, we need new people. You need new people. You need new experiences. I'll tell you one thing. I've been to plenty of house shows. I've been to WWF shows. I've been to WCW shows. I've been to ECW shows. I've been to indie shows, and I've played a lot of shows as a traveling musician. There is no substitute for a good live crowd, for a good live engaging crowd. And I think, wrestling might have a problem getting those people back with the product being what it is. I'm excited to move forward later on in the year to see that again. I would like to re-examine covering it, pay-per-views in different states, you know what I mean? With audiences and stuff.
Well, I will tell you this before you go. I will say this with WrestleMania right around the corner. But there being a live crowd, about 25,000, 30,000 people, you're gonna want your name to be the first name on that card because the minute that first person comes out of the back, that crowd's crazy. no
Well, I
matter
hope so.
who
I mean,
it is.
you have to remember too; those events are very papered. Like, who's going to spend $25,000 on a WrestleMania ticket in the middle
Well,
of the
yeah,
pandemic?
exactly. That's the problem.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And
you know,
I've seen
it's
the rumored card this year, and it's
yeah.
on the-
Let's see. I don't know that crowd is going to be the good barometer because it's still,
Yeah.
WrestleMania is like the thing that people only go to and then never go to anything else. It's like, I go to a lot of small indie concerts and indie bands and, like 300 people. And like, there's a big difference between people who go to that and go to things with 30,000 people. So it's just, it's more of a rabid fan base. I'd like to see AEW in the, post-COVID world tour and see how they would do in some of these cities. They were supposed to be in all these cities. They're supposed to be here. They're supposed to be in Philly. So I'd like to see that. I want to see
Prudential is going to be sold out.
You're kidding. The Prue Center, really? In Newark?
Yeah, that was Prudential Center was sold out, and they were going to be doing the War Game style match.
Yeah.
You guys ever been to the Prue Center?
Love it.
No.
Love it.
I used to work. I used to work in Jersey City long before they built that, and then when I heard they were building that, I was like, "Oh, that's going to be an unsafe place." And then I went there.
You're not wrong.
I worked down there for like 14 years, and then commuting from Brooklyn, and then I went and I saw Iron Maiden there 10 years ago.
Hell yeah!
The first time I was there, that Maiden show, and I was like, "Yo, this place is gorgeous. This place is beautiful." I was like, "I can't believe it."
I can't see it on the fucking.
I can't see it. What is that a tattoo of? That looks like what is it?
It's Eddie.
Oh, it's what Eddie version?
Can't see it with my fucking light.
Is that Killers?
It's no, it's from the single for Stranger in a Strange Land.
Oh wow, that's interesting choice of Eddies. My goodness. I see mostly.
I didn't want the standard Eddie that everyone does. Everyone does Killers. Yeah. Everyone does Trooper.
Number of the Beast,
I didn't
Trooper. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Maiden. I'm a big fan. My first concert was Maiden in Queensryche in 1985 at Radio City. That was my first concert. But yeah, like I said, I would love to jump back in because I missed the discussions. Maybe once we arrest some of these terrible people who are being sexual predators on these women and some men and get them out of the business and we get crowds back in and then we kick this thing back up. If you have a Tuesday night show and a Wednesday night show and a Monday night show and a Friday night show, and then you have Impact running on Tuesdays, which I think is going to be a death sentence for them at some point with WWE at this point. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I'm excited. I want things to get better, though. I want to be more engaged in what I'm watching rather than complain about it. Although I'm good at complaining, I've made a living out of complaining.
Well, John, thank you so much for joining us, and we would love to have you back on in the future for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe after Mania or something like that.
For sure.
I'm down.
We're going to set that up for sure, and because it's great because we have a whole bunch of guests that want to come on before that Mania show because they have, like you, a lot to say about the WWE product.
Well, I want to thank Alex's lighting because it's I feel very amorous now. I might actually kiss my wife. I don't know. Who knows?
It's like that South Park episode. If you watch South Park when they go see the Broadway show.
Lyle, are you a Long Island guy or are you just an Islanders fan?
I am. I'm from Long Island.
Okay, yeah, because because by law you have to have at least 3 of those things in your house if you live in Long Island, right? Those Islanders things. And Josh, you've impressed me with the Met stuff.
Thank you, appreciate it.
My backdrop when we do the show is I have a Break the Apocalypse backdrop to cover up my exercise equipment. So that's like
I was wondering what that was. I didn't know what that was. I didn't.
Well, in the winter, I normally in the winter when there's no COVID, I run outside every day. I run inside because it's like 10 degrees up here. But because of COVID, it's the only time I get to go outside. So I was like, even if I have to walk, I'm going to go out. And I've been going out like 18-degree weather up here and like snow and ice and shit. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been using it. I've only used it a few times this season because I'm constantly going outside. And now the weather is changing. So I will hopefully be outside more. But normally in the backdrop, this is the basement of my house, I have a Break the Apocalypse banner that's real nice that Shaheen made for us. So yeah, guys, tune in to Break the Apocalypse. You get it free every Friday. It's a comedy show. It's very, very adult heavy. We do talk a little bit about wrestling on there. I think we might talk a little bit about this Jersey guy, the pedophile, because how can you not? I mean, it's news, right? And then the Joey Ryan thing we'll follow up on. But guys, thank you for having me, and let's talk about this Mania thing. I think it's a good idea. If you'll have me, I'd love to do it.
Hey, John, we would love to have you on. Thank you so much, Jon Draper, ladies and gentlemen. Apocalypse. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I think at this point we might as well.
That was a great interview.
We might as well. we might as well just skip the commercials because we only have about 2 left. Because that went way.
So you want to do the? You want to just go straight to the segments?
We might as well.
We kind of touched on everything. We touched on everything else we want to talk about.
I do want to talk about.
I do want. At this point, everything is shot.
Yeah, except MLW. We haven't touched on that.
We have not touched on MLW, and we will touch on MLW. There's a lot that John. Listen, it's interesting because what John did for me was he really opened up my eyes about AEW and how versions of it it's a really crappy product. When you dive deep into it, they're not doing things the right way.
No, they're not.
And all the products.
Every product is crap right now.
Every product is.
AEW is just a gold-plattered crap compared to everything else. That's exactly what it is.
You know what? I think I should just quit off the mat and just not even do this anymore. Forget wrestling. Just forget wrestling. Alex thought I was.
Not you too.
Alex thought I was serious. He thought I was serious. Alex was like, "What?" Alex, I'm kidding. I'm not leaving the show. Oh, man.
I do want to talk about this one match. The match between Jordan Oliver and Jacob Fatu. That match was incredible.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Are you doing MLW right now?
MLW, yeah.
Okay, we'll segue into MLW right now. Okay.
And this match was really, really well done because Jordan Oliver, he was just taking everything left and right from Jacob Fatu. And of Contra, and Contra has been the main focus of MLW lately. They've been the main stable in MLW, and they're doing a great job building up Contra and making them look good, making them look strong, and they did that throughout this match. And Fatu is a really hard striker in the ring, and definitely one of my favorites that I've seen so far wrestle in MLW. But also there was a new guy that joined MLW this week. His name was Calvin Tankman, and he had a match against Laredo Kid. And I was surprised. I was absolutely blown away by this debut on MLW. He was fantastic.
How's my boy doing, Leo?
Leo's actually coming back next week. There's a big announcement that he's going.
I know he has a big announcement. I saw that he has a huge announcement coming up this past week regarding his middleweight championship. I know he said that.
So I just want to say one thing, and then we'll get back to that. But I have something I want to rant about, and so I want to save the last 10 minutes of the show for that. And it's going to be fun. It's going to make Errol very happy. It's going to make Speedy very happy.
It's going to be 10 minutes.
No, then we have our finisher.
Oh, okay. So, I was gonna say, so our finishing moves, we'll say it for 9:50. But
yeah. So do you want to do the Well, no. We'll do finishing move 9:55, like normal.
Yeah. So let Alex do. Alex, is there any more left for that?
Yeah. Go on about MLW, and then we'll do our.
For Calvin Tankman, I gotta say, Calvin Tankman is looking strong, but I think they're moving too quick, putting him in the title picture against Fatu. I think they should wait. Allow Calvin Tankman to build himself up more, make him look good, make him look strong, like how they did against Laredo Kid.
How's Hammerstone doing?
Hammerstone is doing well.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he's
$1 million.
He's having a match next week.
He will be scooped up by somebody. Unfortunately, MLW in the future will probably
WWE.
Could be.
I think he would fit there way better than AEW, to be honest.
I agree.
Okay.
I think, Calvin Tankman, his performances are just fantastic. His last performance was fantastic. I can't wait to see how they build him up. I think it's going to be interesting. Hopefully they give him a good match. What match I'd like to see Calvin Tankman wrestle in is a match against Leo Rush would be good. I'd love to see that and see how he does against.
Yes, that'd be great.
That'd be a great match. I like the idea with Tankman. I think he's somebody like you said, Alex, because I watched the video that you watched. I watched bits and pieces of MLW. I'm not an avid like you are, but I watch bits and pieces of it like every now and then on YouTube. I subscribe to them and everything. And I agree with you on Tankman. I think they are rushing him a little bit.
Yeah, it's not right to just throw him immediately into the title.
I agree. You're asking too much. You're asking for too much. I think having him have a little rivalry with Leo Rush would be a nice little beginning. All right.
And then the other thing I saw was the feud between Alicia Tal and Selena Di Loreno continued last week. That was interesting to see.
Yes.
I loved all the bits and pieces from that. And it's leading towards I think it's going to lead towards a match with Alex Hammerstone and his tag team partner taking on Lost Parks. I think it's going to lead to something like that.
Love Lost Parks, man. Love those guys, dude. They're awesome. I love them.
Okay.
Alex, thank you for that.
So,
we'll give you more of a platform next week. We didn't realize the interview was.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yes.
you want to throw in? Let's throw in New Japan real quick. I want to give you guys the updated bracket for round 1 and 2 because round 3 is happening. The quarterfinals is happening March 16th and 18th. Right now we're still in round 1, so we still got ways of round 1 to go. But Kojima was eliminated by Jeff Cobb, so Jeff Cobb and Evil are going to meet in round 2. Then we have Yano's going to fight Great Okan in the second round. Hiroki Goto is going to take on Shingo in the second round. Minoru Suzuki and Kenta, that's going to be a hard-hitting physical environment.
I'm excited about that.
And then we have Will Ospreay taking on ZSJ, and then Yuji Nagata and Sonata, and then the winner of Toa Nare versus Jay White will take on Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Well, we know who's going to win that, so.
I think it's going to be Jay White, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's not going to be Toa, even though Toa's
that is such a bold prediction on your part, man.
Even though Toa's a strong, heavy hitter and he's fast, Jay White, he likes to take his time. He's going to outmaneuver him. He's going to do whatever it takes to outsmart him, and he's good at doing that. And I think Toa is going to be outsmarted in this matchup.
Awesome. I agree. Well, thank you, Alex, for that update. So do we want to – we'll do the thing now, and then we'll get to our finishing move already. It's crazy.
We're going to do our fun segments.
Time flew by.
Okay. So we're going to do the push fire job, and then if you want to include them to be eaten by Nyla Rose, you can throw that in there.
Hey, I love that option. That's awesome. Eaten by Nyla Rose.
Okay, first person. Not that one.
Oh, God.
Randy Orton.
Oh, dude, push.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say job. I want him to job someone.
Why would you job Orton?
He's like 45. Why are you gonna push him even more? He's 45.
Because he's one of the
What more
best
can he do?
Dude, he's one of the best heels in the business. You don't have to have him job. You can still have him push. You can have him be a push, but then be a main event there still at the same time. That's what puts people over.
He's so over with everything.
Yeah, he's over when he's the heel. He's the best heel in the business. Come on. A job. That's a disgrace that you put.
He could have Randy Orton do anything, man.
Damn you, man.
Okay.
Damn you.
Swerve Scott. Swerve Scott.
Who?
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Swerve Scott. Yes.
Isaiah Swerve
Scott. Yeah, definitely a push.
Yeah.
Because Josh,
I would say push too. He's very, very talented.
Josh, you need to watch more of his matches on NXT because right now the storyline they have him in with Braun.
No, I think it's great what he's doing with the stuff with Leon
Bronson Reed.
I think it's awesome. I think he's extremely athletic. I think he should be in the North American Championship title opportunity at some point. I think he's that good.
What happened to the other guy that he was competing against?
Leon Ruff?
Not Leon Ruff.
God.
Not Leon Ruff. I forget his name.
I hate him. He's so bad. I can't watch him. He's like watching Marco Stunt.
I forget this guy's name.
Which one? Legata El Fantasma?
No, it was a guy before it. I forget his name.
Hold on. I know who you're talking about. I don't know the name either, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, but he's had a lot of matches against him, and I think we need.
Is he the one that Malcolm Bivens is managing now?
Well, that's what's his name? That's Rust, Tyler Rust.
That's the guy.
Tyler Rust, though, I like what they're doing with him.
I love what they're doing with Tyler Rust.
Keep moving along with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love.
Okay, the next name out of the hat. The next name out of the hat, because Josh is getting all muffled and I couldn't hear him, is the man who's getting all muffled himself, Joshua Silverberg. Pushfire, job, or eaten by Nyla Rose.
Wait,
I'm gonna go with eaten by Nyla Rose.
Eaten by Nyla.
Wait, that's my name that came out? You say I sound muffled. I can't even see anything on your freaking screen.
Yeah, my light is really bright.
It's your light.
But
Yeah. Shut up, it's your light.
I'm gonna move it up there somewhere. But
I would push
eaten by Nyla Rose for Joshua Silverberg.
I would push that guy to the freaking moon. You know.
You're gonna go to the moon just like Doge.
One, you should want to push me to the moon because, well, there's a reason certain somebody.
I got one. Cameron Grimes push fire a job.
Cameron Grimes push fire a job.
Eaten by Nyla Rose.
Why do you hate Cameron Grimes so much?
I would job Cameron.
I don't hate him.
I would job him.
I just don't care for him.
I would job him.
He was great in Impact.
Also, he's a very much racist. He is highly racist. The stuff that came out about no. It didn't come out about him. He actually was saying stuff. He was saying the N-word all over Twitter. So
he was what?
Yes, he was. He had old tweets that he was saying he is highly
I
crazy.
did not know about this.
I did not know about that. Now you upset.
He was saying gay slurs, racist remarks. I think this was before he was in WWE, but and then like every couple of years, someone finds it again and it comes out again on Twitter, kind of like the Excalibur bullshit. But
and what's it? Well, no, I forget the other guy's name. He was with WWE. They released him recently. Jeez.
Which one? EC3?
Not EC3. He had the what was the his finisher? I forget. I know the name of his finisher. It's like the freak accident.
Oh, Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
Oh God. He's probably still getting reamed somewhere.
Jesus Christ. Great. Now Alex is going to use that.
Okay. Okay. Our final one before I rant. Reba. And I'm going to say she should be eaten by Nyla Rose too.
Jobber. I'm going to job.
No, not even that. She can't even wrestle. She's garbage.
I would use her as a jobber because you need people that suck at wrestling to be a jobber.
You're right. No, in order to be a wrestler, you have to be good at taking bumps. That's all you need. You don't need to be a good wrestler. You just got to be able to take a bump.
Can I just say one thing that John?
You can take a bump and look good. You can be a jobber.
By the way, can I just say one thing that John said before that stuck out to me with the interview?
Sure.
He likes Mark and Jay Briscoe.
Yeah, and he
likes Mark and Jay Briscoe. He thinks they're almost as good. He thinks they're better.
I knew that was gonna make you.
He thinks they're
the happiest man alive.
You know what surprised me about John that he said is that he's a big Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose fan.
He said they're bigger than the Young Bucks.
Who? The Shield? No.
Jay and Mark.
Oh, Jay and Mark Briscoe.
That's a big statement.
He is saying that. He's saying that because he knows I love the Young Bucks.
He doesn't know anything.
That's why he's put. No, you're saying it.
Oh yeah, me. Yeah. Well,
you.
Go back.
Okay. Now I want to rant.
Okay.
I want to rant. I have like 5 minutes. I'm gonna get my my screenshot here so I can read this out loud, and then I am gonna have some fun. Okay. Well, I am very prepared, good sir. Now I want to start off by saying something. If you are a fan of this show,
okay,
and you used to watch this show before us called Behind the Barricade, I'm sorry for what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna stop there from like talking about apologizing. Okay. Now, Behind the Barricade was a garbage show. They were terrible. That is why they're not on this network anymore. And they have the audacity to go around talking shit about Errol and about this network. They are horrible. They said that that Errol pushed him off the show and wanted them to fail. And the time that I've been on this network, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. And both of you two, and Pete, or Speedy Pete, who's sitting back there listening, can even attest that Errol will never want something on his network to fail. And I'm going to say this about their wrestling opinions, first off, because they said that they thought that Big Show signing and that Christian signing there is them pushing the old guys like WCW did. Are you like mentally stupid as can be? Like even Jon Draper said, they're never going to go anywhere. They're just there to put over other talent. When was the last time you saw Dustin Rhodes wrestle before this week at the pay-per-view? Never. He doesn't wrestle anymore because they don't actually have these old guys actually wrestle. They are never there. Stinger has been on there for 3 months now. He wrestled once. These people, like you even said it, Josh, they only talk WWE. Only talk WWE.
Yeah, but
hey, that's fine.
I don't want to.
That's fine. And I'm going to tell you right now.
Harp on history and stuff like that. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to.
No. I'm going to call them out because they called out this network that I'm on now. And they said how bad it was. No, the network is not bad. This network is amazing. They are bad. They are terrible. And the fact that they were giving an opportunity, and then we'll talk shit about it.
Well, this took a
whatever.
turn.
It's yeah. Okay, let's do our finisher now.
Wait a minute. I love how he thinks he's like the boss man now because he did that little rant. Let's do our finisher now. That's it. We're done. Hold on.
I don't want to keep going.
Pump the brakes.
Okay, go for it. Keep going.
Pump the brakes. Okay. Alex, if you don't mind, would you mind if I spoke on behalf of you and I really quick?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
We have never brought that. I understand what you're saying, and I completely understand. I get it. Trust me. When people say things like that, it's hurtful and it sucks. But one thing that Errol has taught me since I've gotten to know him is who cares what people say? You show them in the future. That's what makes you better, rather than harping on the past. Worry about the present. And I think we have never actually even brought up. I don't think we've ever even brought up Behind the Barricade, have we, Alex?
No, not at all.
The first time this has ever been brought up. I'm not saying you did anything wrong, Lyle. Not.
I know.
And Alex, not either. I think when you're when you say things that somebody says, you don't need to retaliate it because look, you're on the network now.
Mm-hmm. You just need to ignore it and just
you ignore
water under the bridge. You just
noise.
kick it away.
And I can tell you, Errol will tell you the same thing. Ignore the noise.
Mm-hmm.
And show them why our product is better rather than calling them out on it and letting them show that they got to you. You show them on the product itself.
Well, they didn't talk bad about our product. They talked bad about the network.
Well, forget that. Dude, it's in the past with them. They're not a part of it anymore. And we move on. Mm-hmm. And that's just how we do it here at WWSRN. We are professional. We keep it professional. We don't go back and forth with other people. So there's no reason to go back and forth with people. No. Listen, if they have an opinion on something, let them
speak their opinion. Yeah,
and that's
if they want to be critical about something, let them be critical.
Exactly, let them be critical about it, and we will show them that we have a very good product. But there's no reason to even mention the name or whatever it was associated with, because that's the past, dude. Mm-hmm. We're in the past. We're in the present now. That's it. We had a great interview tonight with Jon Draper.
Great interview.
Literally took an hour and 35 minutes. Can't believe that.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, we will give you more of a platform next week to do your stuff with MOW New Japan. I know you want to. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It gives me more to talk about because I watch these shows a lot. I keep up.
No, of course. But Lyle, listen, we're happy you're here on the network with us, and we want to move forward and make this product a very special product, and we will, and we're working towards that. And bigger things are happening here at the network that we will not disclose right now. But
actually, I have a quick announcement.
Go for it, buddy.
I just found out today that I am a part of one of the biggest wrestling news sites, PW Mania. I'm going to be a contributor to write opinionated columns. So I'm excited to start. I'm excited to start working with them and come up with.
That's a huge thing.
I'm excited to come up with huge articles and give my opinion on the whole wrestling world and share it with their fans.
Don't forget to share it with us at WWSRN. Don't forget that. But that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. You deserve it. We know how hard you've been working for this, especially me. I've known you since last year. I mean, I know how hard you've worked in trying to get into this business and getting your foot in the door. And it's not an easy business to get.
No, it's not.
And
It
bigger
takes
things
a lot
are
of work.
happening. So let's get to our finishing move, man. Alex, in honor of you getting your new job, we will let you start first.
Go first.
So my finishing move is I was going through some storage last week or 2 weeks ago. I found an old PWI magazine from 2013 with Sheamus on the cover. And funny thing about it, I opened the book and I was looking through it and I saw Mercedes Martinez in there from 2013, and she's on the main roster of NXT now. So that's really cool to see. And I read a little bit of it. It said that she competed in WXW for a little while, which is Alpha's promotion in Mineola, Florida. Yeah, he runs a promotion over there. So that was cool. And then I saw, what else did I see in there? I saw a young AJ Styles in there. That was pretty unique. That's pretty cool to see. And then there was when Jerry Lawler had his heart attack, they had a whole article about that in there. For the Monday Night Raw.
Yes, I remember that. All right, man, that's awesome. Lyle, go for it, man.
I just want to say, I really kind of, when I broke it down, the Revolution pay-per-view, I don't think it was that bad. I think it left a really bad taste in everybody's mouth because of the ending. The main event from bell to bell was good. I really liked the match for the most part. There were a couple of matches in there I really hated. Tag team battle royal.
Well,
the
cinematic
match,
good at least.
They had no business. Yes, those other two matches there had no business being on the card. If they were cut off, the show would have been great. But I think that overall the wrestling was good. The women's match was the best match of the entire show.
I think the best match to me was the cinematic match, because that was where it was very well done. It was very well edited and put together, and the way they performed in that matchup and how they made it look was great. It was amazing.
My finishing move is pretty much going to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is going to be the most interesting night I think we've seen from these two shows. You have a heavy-duty lineup for NXT tomorrow. And you have the fallout of AEW, which a lot of people are now questioning. Did they go the right route with some stuff? Were things done the right way? I agree with Alex. I thought the Sting Darby match was really good. I thought the ladder match was very good, although at first I thought the brass ring looked like a Honey Nut Cheerio, and then it turned out it looked like a thing from Sonic. It was not.
Yeah, that was great.
I didn't understand that whole kind. I mean, it is.
It was something that's good on paper, but then when you put it out there, it does not look good.
Yeah, it just. I mean, this was, and you can read my article on the network on Worldwide.
I will.
I pretty much crapped on the pay-per-view. I said it was one of the worst pay-per-views they've had.
I think All Out is the worst pay-per-view they ever had.
All
Out of 2020.
Read my article and I'll explain to you why. And that's what I will tell you.
I'm not saying it wasn't bad. I'm saying that All Out was the worst one.
Dude, when you have it ending like Revolution did, that tops anything of All Out. When you have that. Again,
I disagree.
As Marvin,
overall, from the first match to the last match, that card was terrible. But you can continue.
Again,
so far to me, the worst two pay-per-views this year have been AEW Revolution and Elimination Chamber.
I agree. Listen, in the words of Marvin Martian, there was supposed to be a kaboom. Where is the kaboom?
Yeah.
It was a fart in church. That's what that was. So that's why Revolution to me was their worst pay-per-view. And as Vince McMahon says, everybody always remembers the ending. That was the ending. Sparklers in a backyard, and Eddie Kingston selling something that never happened. And then John Moxley crapping on the product and saying why it sucked.
Pretty much.
That's why it's the worst pay-per-view. That's all you need. That one moment, that ruins the entire show because it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. So, I want to thank Jon Draper again for being on with us. It was awesome. There's Speedy Petey coming on That means it's signal for us for time to go. But ladies and gentlemen, tune in for us next week. Before we go, how you could download our app. It's very simple. If you have an iPhone, you go to the Apple Store, you type in WWFSRN. If you have an Android, you go to the Google Play Store, you type in Worldwide Sports. Also check us out at worldwidesportsradio.com, our professionally ran website. You can check all of our articles, show schedules, clips from the show. You can rewatch and listen to the show if you missed it, our bios, everything like that is going on. And we have future events coming up when everything opens up again, and it's going to be awesome. Don't forget to check me out, of course, with Speedy Petey and Errol Marks on Saturday.
Also,
Saturday on the world on 103.9 FM, Long Island News, the Weekend Crunch with myself, and Errol's going in for surgery this weekend, so he's doing the show.
Let's wish him well.
It's going to be the Josh show pretty much, so it should be fascinating. But what were you going to say, Alex?
Also, check out the Off the Mat website. I update. We have some new updates on there. We have a new updated pay-per-view list for 2021, and then we have soon tomorrow. There's going to be hopefully some live reports. So stick around for that.
Absolutely, and of course, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope. We are on all different social media platforms. So for Lyle Gillen, Alex Lowe's, Speedy Petey, I'm Josh Silverberg. This has been Off the Mat. We'll check you out next Tuesday. Enjoy AEW and NXT tomorrow. Enjoy SmackDown Friday, and we will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.